All right, we're live here at the SCI show in Reno. It's taken me a while. There's been a lot of moving around, but I got the one and only Ben Cassidy.
Ta-da!
What's going on, brother?
Just a whole lot of everything.
We commandeered the Trijicon booth, so we're doing this right from the nest, right on the floor, right with your people.
Does it get better?
It doesn't get
Come
any
on.
better. So we're here. This is an amazing show. You have such an eclectic group of people.
Sure.
You have so many people engaging in so many different types of hunts, so many different things, conservation. There's so much stuff. What does it mean for you now to be in this post, be here, be amongst the people, hearing the thoughts, walking the floor, getting the ideas? What does it mean?
Yeah, big deal with the ideas and just seeing everybody. I mean, this is what the ultimate sportsman's market. It really is. That's what we call it. For me, like on the advocacy side, it's bringing everyone together from every corner of the earth. 'Cause we're international, right? SCI, SC International. So finally, one chance to have everyone from every corner of the earth, where we can talk about those issues that are really affecting them, and kind of strategize going forward how we're able to best address them.
Now, you're stuck in all these government meetings because you're trying to protect the land. You're working on the conservation. You're working on that side of it. When you get a chance to walk the floor and you get to see all the cool stuff and the different hunts, the different packages that be offered, you have to pinch yourself because there's so much cool stuff here. There's so much.
I don't need a reminder for why I got into what I do, but it's a good reminder
It's a
of
great
why I got
reminder.
into what I do.
And there's so much for everybody.
And the passion behind it. I mean, this is everyone's livelihood, right? I mean, it's beautiful. It's passion, livelihood.
And it's got to be serendipitous for you because you have a rich history of conservation. You're an avid hunter. You're an avid outdoorsman. You can see it. You wear it.
Yeah,
You know.
living it.
And it's one of those things when you walk around, you have to love the position you're in.
Yeah, every day, blessed. Didn't just stumble into it. I've always worked in politics. Always loved hunting, fishing, getting out. So being able to combine the two things together, be surrounded by folks that get it, I mean, couldn't ask for a better situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit and tell everyone so they know a little bit about SCI, how it functions, and how you're able to join and be a part of such a great organization.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, thanks. So I'm the Director of Government Affairs. We work out of Washington, D.C., and that's overseeing our federal, state and local, international, and legal operations and advocacy. And that's spread out across the country and into other countries internationally. We're a member-based organization, 50,000 members spread all over, 20% international. So that's really our backbone. When I'm in D.C. and I go into a senator's office, it's not me going in there. They wouldn't take a meeting with just Ben. They see me riding on the shoulders of our 50,000 members. And that really gives us strength and voice. So really, since I've been on board, it's how do we really empower our members? How do we really give them the tools that they need? And one big thing that we've done is we brought in a tool, the Hunter Action Advocacy Center, that really gets right to our members, letting them know what the hot issues are that need to be addressed right then. Code Red, 911, telling them what the issue is, and then putting them in direct touch with decision makers. We've had great success on it. Seeing, being big assistance to the confirmation of Aurelia Skipwith for U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Big deal for us. It's probably the most important position in government, other than the Secretary of Interior, the President of the United States.
Sure.
Opposing the proposed ban on trophies in the UK, opposing Raul Grijalva's terrible Cecil Act in the House of Representatives, helping get Sunday hunting passed in Pennsylvania. So having that and being able to work with our members. Before I came on to SCI, I was a volunteer, I was involved. I always saw SCI and loved them. What set them apart is, saw all the different groups that recognize all the different critters, but SCI is the group that's just serious about representing hunters, and we assume that that's a voice out there, but it needs to have, some sort of microphone, and I see SCI as being that microphone for hunters.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the times, you'll have elected officials say, what do hunters think about this? Our goal is to have them say, what does SCI think about this? Because SCI is the hunter.
Right. No, it makes sense. And recently I had Kendall Jones on the show, and her and I were talking, and we were explaining a lot of what goes into when somebody purchases a hunt or when somebody is buying a tag, and what goes into all that and what's involved. And I try to explain to folks, whether it's a booth like Trijicon participating in this and purchasing a booth or supporting SCI, or a brand coming out, a a lot of that, and people need to understand, a portion of that goes back into conservation.
Absolutely.
And laying out what conservation means to people is sometimes the roadblock and the difficulty, because they say, well, what's conservation? And I'm like, well, your protection of land. Can you kind of maybe explain to the listeners what that means for you as an organization, as SCI, and how you translate, how you're going to be translating that to the folks?
Yeah, absolutely. Conservation for us is having healthy land and healthy herds, healthy wildlife for this generation and generations to come. It's finding that compromise between being used and preserved. So conservation isn't, lock it up mentality, but it's how does man fit into the system, able to benefit it and make sure that it thrives.
Healthy farming.
It's the North American model. I mean, and that's the beautiful thing with SCI too, is we export one of the greatest American creations, and it is that North American model espoused by, Teddy Roosevelt when he was president, and Aldo Leopold and all those other, pioneers. Yeah, I mean, I used to work over at the Department of the Interior. Really got to see hands-on just how incredible Pittman Robertson is. It's crazy, and it's amazing just how few people really understand, the one user group that really pays back into real conservation are the hunters, sport shooters, anglers. I mean, it's $1 billion a year between Dingell Johnson and Pittman Robertson that goes back in.
There's an insane amount of sometimes disconnect between laying that out to folks and explaining some of the differences between what conservation means for the regular person and for the hunter. And, I had this conversation, this back and forth with Kendall, and I think you just did a good job of kind of laying it out. But folks need to understand that there's reasons for hunting tax, there's reasons for shows like SCI and raising funds and raising awareness to those causes. I come out here and it's so refreshing to see how important and how passionate that is to folks. I was walking by a fishing booth and they're talking about this protection of wetlands. I recently had Valentine Thomas on the show. She's a spearfisherwoman. She does TED Talk. She's been on Joe Rogan. She discussed a lot of this as well, what conservation means to her. I think folks, if they do a better job kind of understanding what that even means for them in their own construct, it'll go a lot further for them in understanding what this is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. One key thing is, land that is used is land that is loved. If there's a place that you go that really means a lot to you, you're going to be invested in making sure that that remains the way it is. And that is the essence of hunting, is just getting out there and being out there and appreciating it and wanting to have it stay forever. No one else is invested and attached to our lands, as hunters are.
Do you feel like you're stuck in the offices now, or do you feel like you still get an opportunity to get out there and participate?
I'd say I'm protecting more than practicing, but I still find a way. SCI is actually very understanding of employees being out there.
Yeah, it's always tough to juggle that balance. I was fortunate enough in my time to. When I was in charge of rifle companies and I was in charge of different brands, still trying to get out there, but as I've gotten older, it just gets harder and harder, and, to still participate. But just getting out here and spending some time with the folks and getting to understand them is really critical, and it's amazing to me. I was just over at the Kenzie's booth. I mean, they're sold out of their thermals, their Trijicon thermals, their IRs. Over here, we can't stop the people in the Trijicon booth from walking through. It's amazing to see, and getting to see the people participate in the process. When you walk through this show, do you wish you had more booths, because it's pretty full? I mean, what's the next level that this goes to?
I mean, you could always grow, right? We can find a way. This is sold out, and it's been sold out. I mean, these are our closest partners too over the years. But yeah, bigger is always better,
You don't want to turn it into like everybody,
family.
I mean, so you don't want to get the beef jerky and pickle barrels, and no offense to those, you don't want to turn into. But it's really great to see, and seeing a full happy show, like seeing the folks walk through. The foot traffic's nice. It's really good experience.
Even off the floor of the auctions right now, I mean, they're going for more. And I have just been talking to different folks that've been buying. It's like, well, I got it at value, or I got it even above value, but they're like, we're supporting the cause, though. It's not just the trip that they're going on.
What's your goal to raise coming out of these shows? Do you guys set a benchmark?
As much as humanly possible. I mean, we're built on the convention. It's our Super Bowl. 52 weeks go into it. This is happening right now live. So the bigger the splash, the better.
The better.
Yeah, because it just helps us in forecasting. We'll go right into budget after this, deciding how we're going to be involved in different conservation and advocacy projects.
Now, give the folks a little bit of insight. When you go back to Washington, what are some of the goals of what you want to do? What are your top 3 for 2020? What are your top two that you want to really tackle?
Yeah, I mean, so just from like a operation standpoint, for us it's engaging members, telling our story, and being leaders in the community at large.
So when you're engaging the community or you're getting out there, is the best way to participate following, donating? What's the avenue for the hunter, consumer, person looking to get involved? All the above?
It's a mixed toolkit. There's not one way to do it. I mean, getting involved is joining SCI, getting involved through our Hunter Advocacy Action Center, seeing the issues that are popping up. I mean, right now, we just saw the Bureau of Land Management come out asking hunters how they could do a better job of opening up access to landlocked properties. Currently, areas that Americans can't get to that are public lands, asking for our input. We're 50,000 folks. That's a lot of information that's out there.
A lot.
They're going to know a lot more in Utah than I know in my office in D.C. So we're trying to tap in and speak with all of our members across the country. Where are those places? We know who to tell it to, how to tell it to them to make a difference. So let's work together to make that happen. And that's what the club is.
And one of the things NRA's been successful doing, and maybe SCI can leverage in some way. The NRA has done a great job, and Jason coming in now, I think, will add a very fresh perspective.
Sure.
I think it's going to be, interesting to see how you play, because you have a very energetic, fresh perspective. They've done a great job working closely with a lot of the brands to push not their agenda, but their awareness out there on the folks. It's not necessarily an agenda base, it's more, here's who we are, here's what we're trying to do, we're trying to get it right. I did an interview with Jason, he was very candid about that. He was like, we're gonna turn the ship, we're gonna get it in the directions we want to go in. And I think for you guys, it's more about modernizing and making it a lot hipper, right? Bringing in the younger folks.
Tell the story.
And telling the
Tell
story.
the story.
So
it's already cool.
Absolutely.
This is the Cool Kids Club.
And getting that strategy put together is probably something you're gonna be working on ongoing with you and your team throughout the next year, 6 months, 12 months.
Just a little side story. So my previous job, I was the Department of the Interior, and one of the things that I got in there and noticed really quickly was even folks, in the building didn't necessarily know about the role of Pittman Robertson. It's like, so we're about to hand out, $1 billion to 50 states, divided up. People don't even realize it. Let's tell the story on it. And it was key, going into different states. Like we went to Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio. But like in Wisconsin, putting together an event, celebrating with the federal government, state government, then bringing in the manufacturers, the businesses, because that's key. It's the products that are moving that are being taxed that's going back to it. And we're all different pieces of that one, amazing system that's put together. So yeah, working as closely as we can with our corporate folks and everything. To help amplify the message. So at the end of the day, it's hunting and there's animal rights, right? And there's a pie, and ours is a sliver of it. We got to be able to all work together to push back on that.
Yeah, and I've been critical in the past of some of these different organizations of explaining to them that the enhancement of not just the brands they work closely with, but it has to go hand in hand, and the yin has to pull the yang up. And working together and getting in sync together, brands like Trijicon and brands that you have on this floor and different organizations, it only makes everybody better when you all get together and get on the same page. And it only enhances the value. The more you can bring to the floor of these shows in front of the people, the more you can get in front of the folks, the more you can educate, and the more you can deliver on whether it's raising capital, whether it's raising awareness, and getting that out to the forefront. And it takes huge advocates, and there's no bigger advocate for outdoors right now than you have, somebody like Don Jr. is a huge advocate of outdoors. You had Ryan Zinke in there, and I know it was a huge loss for this industry to lose Jason Harrison, Kuyu, and I can't walk by that booth without shaking all their hands. And it's one of those things that getting hand in hand and getting in the trenches, which I've seen you doing walking around the show, getting your fingers dirty is so critical and so important.
It's the point.
And getting to know the folks. You were in here in the Trijicon booth, spending some time talking to the folks, getting to meet them, getting out here and just pressing the palms is so critical to the advocacy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about collaboration. Back in DC, what we're doing is working with all the other NGOs and groups, that are fighting the good fight, and trying to pull everyone together, and sitting down with the member of Congress who's high level, working with the House Natural Resources Committee, telling them what we think, explaining our point of view, and seeing that pay off. Sitting down with Jeff Duncan, who's receiving our Federal Legislator of the Year award tomorrow. He's a congressman from South Carolina, phenomenal hunter, great legislator. I'm sitting down with him on our podcast, Tag Soup. You know, just hearing his story.
Right. No, it's got to be great. And you know, I see a great energy coming into these different organizations, and getting to meet you and spend a few minutes with you. It's the right energy, and it just feels right. And seeing these different platforms come about. I've been around talking to a lot of these companies, talking to them, because one of the things, Ben, that's been huge and near and dear to my heart is putting a voice behind a lot of these movements. Because I think whether it's the firearms or the hunting industry, we've done a really poor job putting a voice behind the different things that we're doing. We've been so good at email, at photos, at things like that, static stuff. But when you get to hear a Kendall Jones speak, you get to hear you speak, you get to hear Jason Ouimet talk, you get to hear the different folks involved with these things, it becomes a multiplier. It becomes a force multiplier. And I think
there's something to be said about telling our story and how hunters are pretty terrible at it a lot of the time. Sorry, no insult, I'm one, you know. But it's having that person and that person that pushing on, like, I agree with that, it's true. Yeah, like a Ouimet or Kendall, for sure.
And getting out there and doing a lot more shows that push the audio message and push the voice behind the firearm or the hunting experience or the, you know, any of that is going to be a huge,
absolutely,
you know, multiplier. Now, you go on obviously a lot of hunts. What's one you went on recently that's been a lot of fun?
I mean, my most recent was during goose season that just closed, Canada geese, out on the Eastern Shore. Father-in-law lives out there. A few blinds that are set up out there. Just getting out with my dad.
Just having a good time.
Yeah, just having a good time.
Yucking it up.
Everybody was out that day. It was like a battery. It was like a Civil War battle going on.
Just chopping it up.
It was great. Yeah. Then going out in Virginia, doing some duck hunting. Had a great suppressed deer hunt down in Georgia in November. So just mixing it up.
What's your favorite hunting rifle?
My favorite hunting rifle, my Remington 700 2mm.
Suppressed?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I wish. Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite hunt to go on? Or dream hunt, maybe? Favorite one you've been on in dream hunt? Separate them. Have to.
So I'm a bird guy. I love Louisiana.
Okay.
I love Louisiana for its incredible waterfowl.
You
and
like
its
it musty and buggy.
But I love its culture. I'm talking about November, so a little bit, a little past that. Okay. But speckle belly geese, flying prime ribs is the best. Making gumbo out of them. Then dream hunt. I mean, I just need to keep walking around. I don't know how to
I just walked by. There was one booth, and I forget the name. And I was going to take a picture of it. I'm going to go back. It was like, come on, this Italian safari, and it looked like you were like carried on a wine glass. I got to figure this thing out.
There's ways to do it, right?
But
now that's how you do it.
There are so many really cool ones. That's why when I've had hunters on the show in the past, and they talk about going to Africa and they're in a Jeep for 4 days, and I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah,
I'm good.
sure.
I'm like, I want the one that like you're going on a train or a hot air balloon and they're dropping. I want to be carried out there.
How do I get there?
I get it. That makes me not legit. I get it.
It's your thing. No, hey.
I want to be carried.
Too often we discount other hunters, right? We all need, like, I'm not going to judge how you do it.
Yeah.
We're all just
I mean,
way. I would love to follow a bird migration, start in Saskatchewan and get to Mexico. Because then I'd be hunting for 9 months.
Well, you don't want to go to Mexico. I just had Ed from Ed's Manifesto on, and he was talking about Mexico, and I swear to God, I would never go back after hearing that story. He's like, he's right now, he's doing like skip traces looking for lost, people over the border. But, it is so much fun, though, to see the international flair here and see the different companies that are doing and putting together a lot of different really cool international projects. So for me, just kind of seeing some of the boots and what they're putting together, some of them are really creative. They're not just hunts. There's so many different things. I mean, it's kind of like the auctions that we'll get there. You're getting a whole experience.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Big time.
And they're really getting creative with these packages.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of it could be for bringing groups out, too. I mean, some people... It's like any vacation. Some people want to go to the theater, some people want to go to the movies, some people want to go to the museums. So
You're
some
doing
folks
the
want
theater,
to go
the movies, and the dinner.
Right, or mixing it up, like if the wife wants to go hunting and the husband wants to go, do the wine tour.
They're putting it all in. Some of these packages.
They have to differentiate, right? This competition's healthy here.
Yeah, they're putting in some crazy stuff. Now, when you walk around the shows, and I know you've probably been to SHOT and NRA and some of the different experiences, when you get to go around the shows, what's your favorite booth? What's your favorite company to look at? Where do you like? Do you pinch yourself? Is it Tridgercon?
I love Tridgercon. I was happy when you said find us here because I knew where the booth actually was.
Yeah, I get to see some IR.
Bump around, like checking out SIG. I like the guys that are over there, so it's just cool to like catch up with them.
Are they here?
I haven't seen him here today. So honestly, my floor walking so far has been just to hear.
Yeah.
A lot of my guys have been in meetings.
I thought for sure they would have a big presence here because I just interviewed Daniel Horner. And
Yeah.
They debuted the Sig Cross, and I've interviewed all of them, Max, everyone. But the Cross looks ridiculous. It was one of those rifles I was like, they're going to kill them. That's going to be a race to the bottom of the bolt action market now. $14.99 for that thing.
Wow.
I'm like, you can't buy an action for $800.
Right.
I'm like, it's over. So it is a lot of fun. And listen, getting to chop it up with you, and I know you're time sensitive on a trip like this, and getting the opportunity to sit with you and be able to walk away and say, geez, he's a great dude. And it's a lot of fun. If people want to reach out to you, what's the best avenue? What's the best place to reach out to, either SCI or you directly?
Yeah, sure. I mean, my inbox, Cassidy at
Take your chances on the
SafariClub.org.
inbox, people.
Safari Club, right? Cassidy at SafariClub.org.
Okay. And if people want to participate or find out when the next shows are or where they can kind of join in and maybe the auctions and the giveaways, and I still want to talk about those.
Go to our website. Get involved locally.
Okay.
We've got this going on here. Come to this show. But every one of our chapters is doing
Yeah,
their
there
own
was just
thing.
the Las Vegas dinner. I was
Sure.
talking to Rick Neal, he's involved with it, and he was saying he was just at the dinner the other night. There were some badass auctions, and coming to the auction, speaking of which, you guys auction off some beautiful setups. There's some stuff. I was looking at a few, I mean, every company kicking in. It's great to see them pull together. Is there ever an auction you look at that you're like, I wish I could bid on this, but I know I have absolutely no chance?
How about one that's been made very famous in all of the major media outlets? A hunt in Alaska with Donald Trump Jr.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it's at now, but that looks pretty incredible. And it's with Keegan McCarthy, great friend,
Yeah.
phenomenal outfitter.
I don't know. I mean, I love you, Don, but I don't know about no. I'd rather go. I know where he might be going fishing next week. I'd rather go fishing with you
There you
next
go.
week. If you end up going with Cunahan, I'd rather go there.
Yeah.
But that's But yeah, there's so much really cool stuff that they are auctioning off, and some of the packages they start to get almost ridiculous. Like
Sure.
It's like a safe, 4 guns, a trip, and a ninja, and a midget jumps out of it.
It's also why you want to go live too, because
Right.
they'll start throwing things in while you're there.
Oh, yeah.
Right, the midget,
They get crazy.
I'm holding out for the midget.
I'm
right?
jumping out of a cake. So and that's really cool to see because it just shows the support for the community.
Totally.
And sometimes,
Totally.
And you brought up Dawn, and it's sometimes it's the experience, right? Like the guys jumping in to say, "I'll go on the hunt with you," and I'll personally,
Sure.
take a week off. That's the stuff
It's
that's
huge.
a home run. Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So it's been unbelievable. I know time's tight for you. We've gone for about 25 minutes.
Awesome.
I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, no, of course.
for taking
Anytime.
the time.
Appreciate it.
If there's ever an opportunity or there's ever a reason to be here, think of the conservation, right?
Yep.
Think of what it brings to the table to be a part of such a really cool organization. And I got to say, it's a cool show. I mean, it
Appreciate
really
that.
is. And I think you're going to do tremendous things here.
Thanks. We're loving it. Wouldn't be doing it otherwise. And I really appreciate your words on the show. It's my first one since being on board, and I've been just overwhelmed by how well it's being pulled off right now.
Absolutely.
And just the welcome that we're getting from Reno.
Yeah, and you have a forum here if you ever want to come out, talk advocacy, talk about conservation. That's what this is
I'm
about.
going to put you on the spot now.
Anytime.
I'm going to invite you to Tag Soup,
Anytime.
our podcast.
Absolutely. You got a
Awesome.
deal. You got a deal. Absolutely.
Sounds like a plan.
Anytime.
Awesome.
So I appreciate it, brother.
Thank you, John.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
kick it back to everyone else. I can't thank you enough.
Appreciate it. Good?
Yeah.